So let me open by saying congratulations on an amazing victory, man. I mean, you guys definitely earned fight of the night, and it didn't even go around.
I know, man. That's crazy. And thanks. I appreciate it. And yeah, I think that the level of action in that fight, it definitely deserved the fight of the night because if either of us weren't willing to put it all on the line, the fight wouldn't have been how it was. So yeah, I think it made sense that both of us got the bonus, even though it was one round. It was round of the night. But yeah, it was awesome.
It was incredible. I gotta ask you, Vicente. Going into that fight, we kind of know your style. You're definitely an action style fighter. You're the kind of guy that when you're fighting, we just know to just watch to see what happens because you always deliver. But we got to be honest, Tyron has not had those kind of performances lately. He's kind of been sitting back, and it's been weird. He's had these kind of weird performances where he's like sitting against the cage and not really engaging with his opponents and things like that. He comes out on Saturday night and he's throwing hammers like as soon as the fight starts. Did you expect that out of him?
Yeah, man, I did. I still was surprised at how fast he started that fight and the pace that it took. But I did expect him to be more aggressive. I talked about that before the fight. When a guy that used to be the champion, that used to be as dominant as he was, is coming off 3 losses and has so many people talking, about how he's not the same, how he's not aggressive anymore. You're not going to see that guy break under that pressure. You're going to see that guy, go in there and do what he did, try to get back to the winning column, try to get back to who he was in the past, to that old Woodley, the Woodley that was the champion. So that's what I did expect from him. I talked about that because if I didn't get ready for that, I would have had underestimated him, and I probably would pay expensive for that last Saturday night.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was good to be ready for that because man, he delivered.
With that being said, let me ask because he did catch you with a good shot early, but you seemed to recover pretty quickly. And obviously he saw the opening he tried to go for, but you defended well. And then when you came back at him and you caught him, obviously you hurt him worse. Did you, in a way, were you baiting him in at all? Like when you saw that, we've seen that before with guys when you do get clipped. Obviously you kind of bait him into coming forward, and you did, and then you caught him. Like, can you walk me through that sequence?
Yeah, so beginning of the fight, I was focusing on just, kind of like emulating his wrestling game. I knew that he was going to do that. So I got ready for that. So it worked out at the beginning. Once we broke, and we were going to start a strike, I thought that he was going to be a little bit more tired than he actually was. So he really caught me with that shot as I try to hit him with an elbow. So I kind of try to hit him with an elbow, and I moved my block a little bit. So he caught him right behind my ear. And it's tough when you get hit behind the ear, you kind of lose your balance. And that's what happened at that moment. But I was able to quickly regain my balance. And I could see it on his eyes that he saw an opening in my game, and he was going to charge full power. And at that point, I realized, okay, let me take advantage of this. Let me try to, realize when he's going to kind of telegraph his shot. I'll time it, and I'm going to hit him, at the moment he's coming in. I'm really good at timing these hits and getting kind of counters at the same moment the guy is throwing. And I think that's the best moment to hit a guy because I'm not only going to be throwing my power, but I'm also going to use his power walking into the punch. So that's what I did. I hit him with that hard right. It really wobbled him. And from then on, I try to, different than what he did. He charged really full power against me. I try to take my time and hit him as clean as I could to keep him in that zone where he couldn't recover and eventually get the finish. I thought I was going to get the knockout, but he was doing good. He was kind of taking what I was bringing to him, and eventually he tried to shoot for a takedown, and I said no, I'm going to go for this stars. It's my go-to move, and it paid off.
Absolutely. Were you surprised that he was able to stay standing and take your strikes as long as he did? Because there was a couple of shots that landed where I was like, I feel like 99% of welterweights would have been knocked out in that moment.
Yeah, man, I was surprised. I know that I hit hard, and I know that I'm really precise with my hits. I was clipping him in the right spots, and I was getting some really clean shots, and he was just eating them. He definitely got wobbled. He definitely kind of lost his balance. but he wasn't going out cold, and some other guys would have gone out, would have at least, got knocked down, and he could take it. He could, still keep himself standing. And yeah, props to him. I was surprised with that. That's another reason I chose to go for the submission. I just felt like it was the right thing to do since he could take my shots and the submission was right there. I could see it. I say, hey, I'm gonna do this because I think it's gonna be a quicker way to end the fight than just try to get him out of here with punches.
Yeah. Now, what does it mean to you, Vicente? I mean, this was a huge win. It got you, I believe, ranked up to number 6 in the division, which is awesome. But what does it mean to you to finish a guy like Tyron Woodley, especially when you look at the record that this guy has? I mean, obviously, he went 5 hard rounds with your teammate and your good friend Gilbert Burns, who I know is always in your corner. He went 5 rounds with the champ Kamaru Usman, another teammate of yours from the past. And I take nothing away from Colby Covington's performance over him, but I know the ending of that fight was kind of a weird injury situation, not necessarily they knocked him out or submitted him in that moment. So what does it mean to you that you were able to go out there and finish Tyron Woodley, because you didn't just beat him, you finished him, and that's a rare thing for his career.
Yeah, I mean, it is definitely the biggest win in my career. It's definitely a name that really adds a lot to my career and to who I am as a fighter. And I think the way that I ended that fight and the way that the fight happened, talks about my style, talks about what I bring to the division, what I bring to this top level of the division right now. I'm not going to change my style. I'm not going to start having safe fights just because we are at a higher level. This is who I am. This is what I plan to keep on doing. When I'm in there, I'm always going to try to not leave it to the judges. I hate leaving fights to the judges. It's just not in my hands. So when I finish a fight, it's like, I really earned that win. It's mine and nobody can take it away from me. So that's what I try to do every single fight. And it is who I am. And that's what I think this win shows, that, man, no matter how tough the opponent is, I can find a way to finish these guys. I can find a way to put them in dangerous spots that these guys haven't been before. And yeah, and I'm not afraid to try to do that. Maybe at some point I get hit or I have to, take a shot to put in a shot, but I'm not afraid of that either. That's not what I'm always trying to do. But if it does happen, like it did Saturday, he hit me with a clean shot, man, it is what it is. It's the price to get the finish. And I'm going to shy from that, And yeah, I think that's the message I send to the division. I'm out there to finish guys.
I love it. I love it. Vicente, before I get to what comes next for you, I want to ask you, because I know you can't decide what the UFC is going to do, but obviously Tyron's in a bit of a down streak right now, 4 losses in a row. The thing is, when you look at the guys he's lost to, there's absolutely no shame in that. I mean, you lose to the champ, Kamaru Usman, you lose to, Gilbert, who's just coming off a title fight. You lose to Colby, who was 1 fight removed from a title fight, and yourself, who is now number 6 in the division. Absolutely no shame whatsoever in losing to you guys, but no one ever wants to be on 4 losses in a row. In your head, do you think Tyron Woodley should stay in the UFC and get another opportunity? I mean, especially given the performance he just had?
I mean, it's hard, man. It's a hard call. I think that the real decision has to be up to Tyron. If he still has that fire to fight, he did have that fire Saturday night. I think that he went in there to really try to take me out, to really try to get me out of that fight. I just was ready for that. And, I'm up and coming. I'm at my best moment right now. So it was really hard for him to take the will out of me. So, yeah, I think that there are definitely guys that he can beat. He is a high level fighter, and once you're a champion, it's hard for you to fight guys that are, lower in the division. You're going to end up only fighting the best. That's why it's hard sometimes to keep winning. But definitely if he fights guys that are maybe, on the lower side of the rankings or even out of the rankings, he's going to put some guys to sleep. I'm pretty sure of that. So I don't know. It's got to be up to him. And I think that nobody can decide but the fighter. He knows what his body been through, what he feels like. And if he's still willing to go through the camps, go through training, cutting weight, and, having fun in that octagon, I think he should do it. And if not, he has had a great career. I think that there's nothing else for him to accomplish. So I really think it's up to him right now.
Yeah. So Vicente, it's funny. In preparation for our interview yesterday, I had this big line of things I was going to ask you about because you mentioned fighting Nate Diaz, which I loved that matchup. You mentioned Leon Edwards. You loved that rematch. And boy, I tell you what, a lot changes in 24 hours because I'm sure you saw the news now that Nate Diaz and Leon Edwards are fighting, which came out of nowhere. I got to be honest. I did not see that one coming. And I was looking at the division, where you're at in the rankings, and I know I'll put this out there so no one even asks the question. I know you and Gilbert are never going to fight. No one's ever going to make you fight. So let me just solve that question right now before anyone asks. You're not going to fight Gilbert Burns, so let's just take that out of the equation. So kind of a two-part question. Like, what did you think when you saw the Leon versus Nate Diaz fight? Because I don't think anyone saw that coming.
I know, man. The first thing I thought about was that many people thought that my call out was kind of, I don't know, you waste a call out because Diaz is never going to fight again. And now I'm like, hey, he is going to fight again, so it wasn't that bad of a call out. He just didn't take the fight. He took the fight with the other guy. And I understand Diaz. I mean, I'm number 6 and Leon is number 3. So he's obviously going to go with the higher ranked opponent. But I don't know. Right now, I got to rest a little bit. I want to work on myself, on developing my game. And I have a kid on the way, so I got to take some time to look, to train, to take care of my baby that is on the way. And I have no problem waiting a little bit. So I think it's interesting because these fights are going to happen now. So we got the title fight going on. We got this fight between Leon and Nate. So I think it's going to be interesting because I'm looking to maybe come back in August. I think that would be a good time frame. And all these fights are going to happen. And maybe out of these fights, I can get my next opponent, So yeah, I think it's interesting. I like the division to be active because then we have more options. We can, have more choices of what we're going to do. And I'm definitely looking forward. I want somebody, as you said, I'm right now in number 6. So for me, it makes sense to fight somebody in the top 5, excluding Gilbert, as you said as well. But let's see, man. I'm excited for all these fights. I definitely wanted Diaz or Edwards to fight me. It's not going to happen right now, but we don't know. After this fight, let's see what goes on. And I'm up to, fighting any of these guys. Maybe Masvidal, if he's not able to become the champion, he can be an option as well. So yeah, I'm going to keep myself ready for all of these things, working on my development, and yeah, let's see.
With a baby on the way, let me say congratulations about that. Of course, right now,
Thanks.
do you feel like you need to show just a little bit of patience because where you're at, beating Woodley the way you did, a former champion, and now being number 6 in the division. I know you've always said yes when the UFC's come calling, but do you feel like now that you can take a little bit of time off? And I agree, let the division play out a little bit because obviously we got a lot of big fights coming up. I know Wonder Boy's out there. I know that's a rematch I'm sure you'd love. Kiesa's out there. Colby Covington's out there, but obviously there's only so many guys that can fight right now. Like, do you feel like patience is the key right now to wait and see how things shake out? And then, when you said come back in August, just see who's available rather than calling somebody out right now, just kind of wait and see maybe like in June, like let's see who's out there in June.
Yeah, I mean, I think that makes sense because I don't know what's going on with guys like you said, like Thompson, like Kobe. We never know if these guys are trying to set up a fight as well. We have Gilbert trying to get fights also. So right now, it's kind of like a tricky moment. I don't think that now I have many options. I'm still here ready. The UFC hasn't called me for a specific fight. So if they do, that's already another talk. Maybe if they come out, with Kobe is number 1. I would definitely like to fight the number 1 in the division because that sets me up to fight for a title, So I don't know. I mean, my options are open and I'm going to keep myself ready as I always have. I'm not a guy, especially with this fight. I was fortunate to come out uninjured. So next week I'm back to training. And yeah, I mean, I got a lot of options and I always stay open to them. I'm not trying to, I don't know. I'm never going to say, oh, I only fight this guy. No, I'm ready to fight anyone. I'm ready to fight all the guys in the division. I'm definitely looking forward. So, I mean, it's natural, the more you climb, the more you want to fight tougher guys and the guys that are ahead of you. So that's what I'm thinking right now. I'm looking ahead and yeah, I'll be open to options and let's see how it plays out. And maybe I can get one of these guys that are available now, or maybe if these guys end up getting set up, I can get one of the other guys, that are lined up to fight, and we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, you gotta like where you're at right now, though. I mean, considering the win streak you built right now, and then capping it off with the win over Tyron Woodley, the way you did it, the fight of the night, the submission, you are in a position for a big fight. And I know you're not a guy who turns down anybody. So if the UFC came calling with a good fight, a good opportunity, I'm sure you're going to jump at it. But right now I feel like it is the Colby Covingtons, the Wonder Boys. Those are the kind of fights you should get right now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've been delivering, man, and I know the UFC recognizes that. They've always treated me great, and they like my style. Fans love my style, and I think that's the biggest thing I have going for myself, because I'm not naturally I'm not a trash talker, and I'm never gonna be that. Just I'm a martial artist. I've been taught in martial arts that we got to respect our opponents, so that's what I'm always gonna do. But once I'm in the octagon, man, I go to fight, and I go to put on the best fight I can. And I think that sells much more than anything I could say, anything that could come out of my mouth. Man, in the octagon, I could do much more than that. And that's what I think that now people are beginning to see. And that sets me up, to have great fights. And the UFC wants me to fight guys you know, that I can go and show people the kind of work that I can have. And like I did right now against Woodley, man, I showed people what I can do against a guy that not many people have done that, not many people have finished him. So yeah, I think that's what I bring to the table, and the UFC recognizes that.
Absolutely. I always joke before we do interviews, before your fights, I say, I appreciate you doing the interviews, but I feel like we don't really need to say anything because we know what's going to happen when Vicente Luque steps in there. We know what kind of fight we're going to get. And that delivers more than any words we could say. With that being said, Vicente, let me ask your opinion, because you mentioned at the post-fight press conference, one fight you really wanted was the Masvidal fight, and Kamaru Usman ended up getting that as the rematch. I'm curious your thoughts on that rematch, because I got to be honest, like even with a full training camp, I have nothing but the utmost respect for Jorge Masvidal. I think he's a tremendous athlete and a tremendous fighter, but I just always feel like Kamaru Usman's just going to always be a bad matchup for him, no matter how many times they fight. And I know you know Kamaru very well from your time training together, the Black Zillions and beyond. So I'm curious your thoughts. Like, do you see that fight going much different than the first one?
Yeah, I mean, all I can talk about is what I've seen and what I know about Kamaru. And being a striker myself, I know what kind of game Kamaru is going to do against a striker, and he's really effective. Kamaru is going to go in there, try to break, these guys' arms, try to get him tired. And after he gets him tired, then Kamaru will strike, because Kamaru has really been improving in striking. But then it's a whole different thing. After you're tired, you don't have the same punching power. You don't have the same speed. So, yeah, I see this fight. I think it's going to be a little bit tougher than the first, because Masvidal is going to have a full training camp. He's going to be better with the wrestling, be better with the cardio for sure. But I still see it kind of playing out similar, a little bit tougher. Maybe Kamaru gets hit a little bit more. But at the end of the day, I still think that he's going to get that unanimous decision and have a really dominant performance against Masvidal, unless we really see a big change in Masvidal's game. But overall, I mean, Masvidal is a great striker. I think that whenever it's a striking battle, he is a really dangerous guy, and he can hit people from anywhere. But when it comes down to fighting a wrestler at the level of Kamaru, it's really tough on him. Kamaru is a big guy, a really strong guy, and Masvidal isn't that big 170. He used to be a 155 or so. I think in times when it comes down to wrestling, that's kind of a little bit of his struggle, just that power that Kamaru brings, that strength, that physical strength. So, yeah, I see it playing out similar to the first one, maybe a little bit tougher on Kamaru. He's going to have to work a little bit more for those positioning. But, yeah, I still think Kamaru gets that win.
Yeah, absolutely. I know the end goal, of course, is to get to Kamaru in the championship, but I got to be honest, I love that idea. I think you and Jorge Masvidal would be such a tremendous fight, man. I got goosebumps when you said that at the presser. I was like, ooh, I like that fight. So hopefully we do get to see that one day too.
Yeah, man. When I got my fight with Woodley, and I was thinking, like, I don't like to think past my opponent, but I'm always thinking like possibilities, right? And I was focused on beating Woodley, but Masvidal was up there, and I was thinking, man, if I get a win over a guy like Woodley, now I have kind of like, it makes sense for me to call out Masvidal. You know, he's not like a fight that he will definitely say no, because I'm going to beat a former champion. So maybe that can happen. And I was thinking that about for a week or two, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks. And then we got that fight set up between Kamaru and Masvidal, and I was like, man, Kamaru got my opponent. I'm so mad at that, but whatever. It is what it is. I still had the fight with Woodley. I still had to go through that. And yeah, I got the win. And now we'll see. I'm going to explore my options. As I said, we never know what's going to go on with that fight. And if Masvidal cannot gain that title, he's going to be out there, you know, to fight again. And maybe it's a matchup that I can get.
Yeah, we got to be honest. You know, injuries happen. This is kind of a crazy world we're living in, and you're always staying ready. You could end up fighting Nate Diaz in May. We just don't know. That could still happen.
Yeah, man, exactly. I'm a guy that is always ready. I'm always active. I'm always keeping myself, you know, trained and healthy. That's something I like to make sure that I don't have injuries and that I stay, you know, not too far from the weight, so that maybe in 2 weeks, you know, I know that 2 weeks is time enough for me to make 170. So yeah, I'm gonna keep myself ready as I always do, and we never know. Maybe a big opportunity shows up, like maybe Nate Diaz or Leon Edwards, one of the two, can fight me in May, and I'll try to be ready for that for sure.
Absolutely. Well, more than anything right now, Vicente, congratulations on an amazing performance over the weekend. Enjoy that bonus with the baby on the way. I'm sure that's nice to get a little extra cash in the bank account.
Yes.
Again, huge congratulations on an amazing performance. Thank you as always for taking the time for me. I look forward to seeing you back in action real soon, and appreciate taking the time today.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate the invite here to talk a little bit. And yeah, man, let's keep on working and go for that title eventually.